So for this one, we are inviting on Jordan Krueger from Metronome. She's the managing director over at Block Inc. And she's going to share some of the latest developments over there. So Jordan, go ahead, please join the screen and go ahead. And I know you have a presentation. You can share your screen as well.
Well, thank you so much to the Messari team for organizing the Mainnet event today. I am Jordan Krueger. I am the managing director of Metronome. Really excited to be here. Metronome is a proud member of the first cohort of projects to be added to the Messari registry back in fall of 2018. And really, we really are happy to be part of the Messari registry. We really think that Messari's done a great job of pushing the industry forward with their true effort to bring transparency to the industry. Really, it's my go-to source for information on projects. So really excited to be here and share more about Metronome and what is getting us excited. So let's go ahead and get started. Metronome is an autonomous cryptocurrency and monetary system. So Metronome launched on June 18th of 2018, and it is led by a team of industry experts. So Jeff Garza he was one of the first Bitcoin core developers. He was actually contributing to the Bitcoin core while Satoshi Nakamoto was still very much involved. Matt Rozak, he has been investing in this space and has been part of some of the most successful projects in the crypto industry since 2012. I have been involved in the crypto industry since 2012 as well. And this is true for the rest of our team as well. We have very similar resumes. So we really brought this experience and knowledge with us when we were designing Metronome. So Metronome, we took this experience and really wanted to develop a cryptocurrency that had three core principles. And those are self-governance and reliability and portability. So Metronome is truly autonomous and self-governed. And what I mean by that is there's no third party or foundation that is controlling Metronome. Everything was coded into smart contracts. It cannot be changed. So it is also 100% reliable. Because everything was coded into these smart contracts, there is no chance of uncertainty because nothing is going to change. So you can bet that everything is going to be the same tomorrow as it is today. It also has portability. So you can move Metronome from one chain to another, and it's going to remain the exact same Metronome. And these three concepts really come together to build something more, and that is longevity. So Metronome is a cryptocurrency that is built to last. And I think that there is something else that's really important to recognize. Building and launching an autonomous ecosystem is extremely difficult because you only have one chance to get it right. There's no backdoor, there's no kill switch. So we had to be 100% confident when we launched Metronome into the wild. This meant that there was a lot of auditing, there was a lot of retesting, a lot of re-auditing before we got it right. But what really makes Metronome special is the fact that it is such a complex system. It is made up of 4 smart contracts. And I really like to think of Metronome as this kind of complex symphony orchestra where you have these 4 smart contracts that really come together to build something beautiful, special, where each one has its own function, but it is coming together to create this wonderful harmony. And each one of these contracts, I'll go through each one of them. They are the token contract, the auction contract, the proceeds contract, and the autonomous converter contract. So the token contract is an ERC20 contract, and it has additional features on top of that. There are advanced payment features, such as mass pay and subscriptions. The auctions contract is how Metronome issues new tokens. So Metronome issues or mints tokens through a descending price auction. And something else to point out here is that we launched Metronome in a very unique way. While most projects were doing ICOs or token sales at the time in 2018, Metronome did things very differently. We had an initial supply auction where there were 8 million tokens that were auctioned off through this descending price auction. And then every day after that, there are 2,880 tokens that are auctioned off through a descending price auction. That happens every single day, daily, midnight UTC. And the proceeds from those auctions, you're probably wondering, well, you're just putting that in your pockets, just another capital raise. No, the proceeds go straight into the proceeds contract. So all the proceeds from every single one of the auctions goes straight back into the ecosystem in the proceeds contract. And so the proceeds contract, then every day, 25 basis points from this proceeds contract will trickle into the autonomous converter contract. And the autonomous converter contract, you can think of this as a very specific Metronome DEX, where you have the ability to convert back and forth between Metronome and Ethereum. And so this is available 24 hours a day, and this is based off the Bancor algorithm and behaves in a very similar fashion to the Bancor. So at this point, you can probably start to pick up that there are two ways built into Metronome that allow you to obtain Metronome. One would be the daily auctions that I spoke about with the auctions contract, and two would be the autonomous converter or the METDEX. So the auctions contract or the daily auctions, that is available once a day, midnight UTC. And then the converter, that is available 24 hours a day. And we have built 3 different applications that allow you to easily interact with these contracts. They would be the mobile, desktop, and the web application. So the mobile and desktop wallets, those are available to download from the App Store as well as Google Play Store. There are direct links from our website, metronome.io. And these are non-custodial wallets where you can store, send, receive Metronome, ETH, and ETC. You can also participate in the daily auctions and also convert Metronome back and forth with the converter. So because the Metronome converter is essentially a DEX, then you will be able to see the exchange rate in the converter, and it is very straightforward. We also have on the right, you'll see the web app, and this is a MetaMask plugin where you can go on to metronome.io, and there are flows that allow you to interact with the auction as well as the converter in a very similar way as with the mobile and desktop wallets. And as I was saying, we launched nearly 2 years ago now. And it's important after 2 years to kind of take a look and see where we are. We have really impressive stats when you look at usage as well as total value locked. And we have, at this point, as of today, 6.3 million in total value locked. And that's great. I think what this really is speaking more towards is the actual usage. And so we have nearly 8,000 users that are actually using the Metronome platform. And so these are users that A lot of them have participated in at least one auction. There have been over 700 auctions as of today. And then a lot of these users are also using the MET-DEX to convert Metronome and Ethereum. So there has been over 80 million Metronome that has, or $80 million that has been traded on the converter. And this isn't just like a one-time thing, or we had great volume one day. No, we actually have very sustained daily volume on the converter. So nearly $80,000 has been traded today. We also have a lot of large community. So we have over 60,000 email subscribers. And so this is very exciting for me. I actually, by training, am a data scientist. So I get excited when I see real numbers, real stats. And this is probably for me the most exciting slide. And these numbers, we have a Dune Analytics dashboard. So if you are interested in seeing these, you can visit the Dune dashboard, and there are more charts available as well. And so that is available for the community. In the beginning, I mentioned that Metronome is a decentralized financial system, decentralized monetary system, rather. So now I kind of want to spend some time to cover what I mean by that. So it has a defined, autonomous, predictable mintage that is dictated by smart contracts. It also has several DeFi components. So one of those would be the DeFi payments. So we have advanced payments that I mentioned with the token contracts. So Metronome has mass pay as well as subscription functionality. And we have started to see a lot of use cases where because Metronome is, in a lot of ways, you can think of it as programmable money, where you can actually use the token aspect as well as the converter functionality. There are a lot of applications that can be used, and a lot of teams that are exploring how you can use the advanced payment features in a combination with the converter to build out applications on top of Metronome for DeFi payments. We also have the MET-DEX, which is the autonomous converter that allows you to convert back and forth between Metronome and Ethereum. Something to point out here is that the MET-DEX is truly autonomous and trustless, because you don't have a third party that is adding or withdrawing liquidity. All of the liquidity is actually coming from the proceeds contract. And we can't unlock that. We are not taking the liquidity out. And the exchange rate, the price, is actually being set through the algorithm that is coded into the smart contract. And then we have, with the proceeds contract as well as the converter, everybody's favorite DeFi value, which is total value locked. And as far as total value locked, I think that it's always important to look to see where we are in comparison to other projects. And we actually are in one of the top DeFi projects. And that's not just in terms of total value locked, but that's also in terms of usage as well. So we are routinely in the top as far as both of these metrics are concerned. You can see here we're in the top 13 in as far as total value locked, and in the top 10 as far as usage. So over the past 2 years, Metronome has really come full circle and has been able to deliver on its promise. I started this talk by talking about the kind of the survey and wanting to build a cryptocurrency that was designed with these core principles of being autonomous, reliable, and portable. And I think that these principles are just as true today as they were in 2018. In 2018, we really wanted to build this, and then today we have delivered on this promise, and it's enabled Metronome to become one of the largest DeFi networks. And Metronome is reliable and predictable, and it continues to prove itself as a valuable player and a necessary component in the DeFi landscape. And really the reason why is you need to truly users have to truly rely on the platform that they are using, as well as a platform that they can build on top of when you're talking about payments or other applications. And I think that we see that every day with the users that we have, and users that are using not just the converter, but as well as the auctions. And if you would like to participate in the auctions or the converter, then you can do this by downloading the wallet or using one of the web apps. And you can find this on metronome.io. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at jordan@metronome.io.
That was awesome. Thank you, Jordan. So I have a couple of questions for this Q&A session. I think we have about 5 minutes here. So first one, so when users are coming to either to the DEX or to the auction contract, what are they primarily using the MET token for? Is it more on like using it as kind of like a payment currency, or is it more for the more on as it being like an interoperability token, being able to convert from one base token to the next?
I think that we see right now a lot more on the payment side. Obviously, we do have the interoperability aspect as well, or the ability, the portability aspect. But right now, where we're seeing the primary use case, or the primary, I guess, need with Metronome would be more on the DeFi payment side.
Oh, that's and you can see that's where most of all the use cases are going for all these other networks. So that's not entirely surprising. We are seeing a lot of interoperability projects pop up, and that's starting. We're starting to see, like, if we're going towards a multi-chain future, that's going to be a lot more popular use case, being able to move seamlessly in between them. So right now you have contracts sitting on Ethereum and ETC mainnet.
Correct.
Are there any plans for other chains, or is it pretty much kind of focusing on these EVM based networks at the moment?
Yeah, so Metronome, there's really, it can exist on any chain that supports smart contracts. And we have started to explore other chains that don't have the EVM, but really because there has been more of a drive for the payment side, that's where we're pursuing a lot of the R&D right now. But I think that in the future we will start to see more demand possibly for the interoperability as well. And so I think that Metronome has the potential to play in that space more as the demand starts to pick up for interoperability, especially with DeFi that can move between chains.
Yeah, I get it. You also mentioned that it's kind of like a Bancor like structure. What does Metronome have versus Bancor? Why would I use Metronome versus something like Bancor?
Yeah, so Metronome, it's the autonomous converter that is built off of the Bancor algorithm. So it is really, it's taking the Bancor algorithm and really applying it to the autonomous converter to allow for a very specific Metronome DEX.
Okay, so the DEX aspect of it. Got it.
Yeah.
Perfect. So had I going on the DeFi side of things. Are you starting to see Metronome? Is that where like the payments is going? So it's going to a lot of these kind of like DeFi apps, and you're starting to see it getting more use case and pickup in these various applications.
Yeah, especially because it is programmable. We have the advanced payment features, so there's a lot that can be done. We're taking a lot of the functionality with the converter as well as the advanced payment features. So there are different apps that are actively being explored by different teams where you're taking different features with Metronome.
Excellent. All right, I have 2 rapid fire questions before we close out here. One, what is it like working with Jeff Garza? Because obviously he's been around in the space for quite some time. So, what has his input really been into this project? And, quick 30-second answer if you can.
Yeah, no, Jeff's the chief designer. So this is really his brainchild. Jeff is really a great mentor. He has it's always fantastic when you get a chance to talk to Jeff and just learn as much as you can, whether it's something from early crypto days or something where it's even just he's so knowledgeable with everything with tech. So it's always a blessing to work with Jeff. That's
great. That's great to hear. And then the last one is you talk about the immutability and reliability of the protocol, and you pretty much deployed these to Ethereum blockchain and ETC, and they're going to be there forever. Yes. Is there any downside for the aspect of trying to upgrade those contracts, or what is the process behind that? Would there ever be a Metronome 2.0 that kind of replaces it?
So I guess the downside was more before we launched it, having to completely trust in the system. But I wouldn't say the downside is now, because that is really one of the greatest strengths, is being able to completely trust in the system, knowing that it's not going to change. Being able to rely on the system that we have in place is going to be there next year, next month, and being able to predict how much Metronome there will be exactly 10 years out, 40 years out. So it's really going back to Jeff Garza always talks about the long now and building something that is intended for the future.
Excellent. All right. So before Ryan comes in and plays me out, thank you for coming. That was a great presentation and look forward to hearing more. First, real quick, where can people hear more about the project and keep in touch?
Yes, so you can go to metronome.io, check out our Twitter, and also feel free to email me at jordan@metronome.io.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, take care.